Health and Safety Committee meeting being held on Monday, the 14th of February at 10 a.m. This meeting is being recorded and made available to view via the Council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images and audio of those individuals present and or speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the Council website at www.caerphilly.gov.uk. If members lose connection during the meeting, please make every attempt to reconnect. However, the meeting will continue as long as it remains quorate. Committee service staff are available and will be able to assist you to reconnect if necessary. That we are not voting today, so I won't make that announcement about the Microsoft forms. Right, apologies for absence. We've had apologies so far from Councillor Ardika, Mr. Juan Antonio Garcia, the Unison, Mr. Gary Parr, Unite, and also Dave Beecham. Are there any more apologies for absence, please?
No, but Juan is in the meeting now.
Juan?
Derek, I'm here.
Okay, Juan, good to see you. Do you want to do the roll call now, Julie?
Yes, I'll do that now, Chair. Right, Councillor Adams.
Present.
Councillor Bevan. I can see Councillor Bevan is attending. Councillor Gordon.
We're not used to this. Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, I'm in attendance.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Havard.
Present.
Councillor Higgs.
Present.
Councillor Kent.
Yeah, I'm here.
And Councillor Williams.
Present.
Neil Funnell.
Here.
Juan Garcia.
Yeah.
Leanne Dallimore.
She's given apologies.
Oh, okay, thank you. Gary Parr. Apologies. As given apologies. Richard Edmonds.
Present.
Emma Townsend.
Present.
Lynn Donovan.
Present.
Thank you. Dave Beecham has given his apologies. Kerry Edwards. No. Paul Cryer.
Present.
Thank you. Sue Richards.
Present.
Mark Williams.
Mark's absent, sorry, so Alan Ford is sitting in his place.
Right, okay. Andrew Wigley.
Present.
Alan Ford.
Present.
And Tracy Minute.
Present.
That's it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Julie. Can I ask officers to introduce themselves when presenting their items, please? Declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and/or prejudicial interest in respect of any item of business on this agenda, in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, Council's Constitution and Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Please use the hands up function to indicate if you have any such declarations. Can't see anything, so we press on. Thank you. Well, the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the Corporate Health and Safety Committee held on the 15th of November 2021. Right. Can we just go through, check the minutes, please, for accuracy? I'm not going to read through them. Obviously, you've got the minutes in front of you. Are you happy with the accuracy? Mover, please.
Are you going to read page by page, page 1, page 2, page 3, etc., Chair?
Mike, at the moment, I can't because I can't get them up on my screen.
Chair Phil Bell's got his hand up.
Pardon?
Councillor Bevan's got his hand up.
Phil?
Oh, you can't see the screens, can you?
I can't
okay.
go.
I was just going to
Yes.
raise an issue on page 1, really. Apologies for absence.
Wait a minute. Are we happy with the accuracy?
I thought you'd done that.
I haven't had a mover for that yet.
Okay, I'll move it then.
I second, Chair.
Oh, you want Right, go on, Dave. Phil.
It matters arising under the apologies for absence. Last time we were talking about how important this meeting is. And in the next report, you'll see the number of fines that local authorities have received for failures to listen to the accident issues. And I'm just wondering whether we've got 20 here today, I think, and we had 14 last time, so it is a bit of an improvement. But I'm wondering whether the officers that should be here are not here. I don't think it's improved again, is it?
How many officers a year, Julie?
Sorry, Chair. We've got one trade union or 2 trade union representatives, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 8 officers.
Well,
Are they all senior officers? Because it
We've had
comes-
apologies from Dave Beecham, Kerry Edwards, and Mark Williams. Oh, they're not attending, so they've been noted as apologies. We've had apologies from Dave Beecham.
well, we've
Okay,
made this
well.
point. We've made this point before, Phil, and I think you're
Yeah.
quite right to raise it again.
Okay.
I think that the cabinet member is here, Colin, and I've discussed this with Colin in the past with the cabinet
Yeah,
member.
Chair,
And I think he's said something somewhere.
yeah, Chair, this is an issue and it has been a problem. I mean, myself, I discussed it with Emma Anlin Donovan, and we have sent emails out to the appropriate areas. But I'm glad to see actually that we have got some substitutes, because that was one of the things which we said, if a relevant officer cannot make the meeting, make sure they send a substitute. So did it say we got 8 officers in the meeting? Which I would have thought is a little bit better than normal.
Yeah, it is. However, I think the point that Phil made about the fines that are passed on to councils now, we need to be very wary about this situation, and perhaps a reminder should go out again from this committee that we are very concerned about attendance and we expect it to be better.
I agree. I'll talk to Lynn after this meeting, and we'll send out another, with the permission of yourself, the chair, and of Emma, we'll send out another email reminding officers of how important it is to attend to this meeting, because the name of the meeting says it all: health and safety.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you. Thank you, Phil, for raising that.
Right, we've got a couple of hands up as well. We've got Lynn first and then one.
Lynn? Okay, Lynn, can you hear me?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Bevan asked about the seniority of officers in the meeting. We've got Richard Edmonds here, who is a corporate director. There are 2 heads of service on here, and the other staff that are on here, the officers are senior officers and senior managers. So there is seniority of officers within the meeting, if that helps.
Thanks, Lynn.
Of
One,
course, the buck stops with the senior officer, not with any, if it goes wrong, it goes back to the top of the well, not to people who are supporting him.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Howard. I just want to go to the minutes of the previous meeting, page 3, when we discussed that when the health and safety manager gave updated the committee on the fire officers that we've got, and just we had our health and safety meeting, our branch health and safety meeting on Friday, and I know there was a few issues brought up there, which sort of ties into this, because obviously things have moved on since our last meeting. So it's good to see a lot of officers at this meeting, because it's really important now as we're starting to wander back into offices to make sure that those risk assessments and fire action plans are in place. But one thing that was brought up, I think particularly Tiraberth was mentioned, that there didn't appear to be action plans in place, or no evacuation that had been done in Tiraberth. This is what I've been told. So we need to look at those action plans. But I think it counts for every establishment in the authority, because obviously fire wardens, and that's a big, we might have action plans, but obviously people are working from home now. Fire wardens have changed. I know they have in my building. So it's a matter of going into the building. Do you know who's in the building when you go in the day? Do those fire wardens know where people are working? I think this is paramount that we get a handle on this, and people and staff can access that information, or need to know they need to access that information, because I think the landscape is going to be very different, and we could see a lot of people in buildings and things being used, a lot of electrical equipment that's being unused, although it might have been tested, test whatever. Also was brought up was the first aid training and first aiders, because obviously staff and people who are first aiders, that will have changed. So I think there's a big piece of work that needs to be carried out very quickly, or at least we know who is doing what and where. And any training, I'm assuming the training updates are going out for first aiders, etc. But that was raised as a concern. There was a few first aiders whose training had run out over the period, hadn't had first aid training or reminders. So just a few things that I need to flag up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Emma, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any issues. One, if you want to give me a call or Teams me later to talk me through your concerns, then I'm happy to look into them. In terms of action plans, again, I'm not sure whether you're talking about health and safety action plans, fire action plans, but again, I'm happy to talk to you around and look into any concerns that there are around Tiraberth. But I'd like to assure members that we continue to work in terms of progressing health and safety priorities. We are supporting building managers and managers in terms of service delivery and in terms of the challenges that COVID continues to bring as we return to some sort of normality. Our fire officers are still visiting CCBC premises and they're carrying out fire risk assessments. Is quite timely one in terms of your comments, because we've recently put together a guidance note which Andy is going to be sending out to all building managers this morning around reduced premises occupancy and the need for them to review their first aid and fire warden provision. It is a challenge. Because obviously with agile working, people are not always in the building in the same way, but we have worked together to put together some guidance and an approach. That's going to be going out to building managers along with some general fire safety reminders this morning. And in terms of first aid training, that's something that's running. It's been running throughout the pandemic because that has been a legal requirement, and all building managers need to continue to ensure that staff are booked on because the courses are available and our legal responsibilities remain the same.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. But can I just come back on that, Chair? Yeah, I think it was just generally thought, and I know in my building, I'm one of the fire wardens, one of the fire marshals in that building, and obviously, when I'm not there, who's taking over? So there's a piece of work for all of us involved there to make sure that we need to know who's in and who's responsible for checking that building should be have a fire.
And that is covered in the guidance. We have had to put together a sort of approach that takes into account people going into buildings at different times and not having the same sort of coverage. People now might go in for a couple of hours rather than being in all day. So again, one that is covered and that guidance is going up today.
Does anybody else want to comment on this? Right, thank you.
Yeah, yes, please, Chair.
Sorry, who's that? Oh,
It's
Lynn.
Lynn.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Just to add to what Emma has said, Chair, we have already sent guidance out around first aiders and fire wardens because we're very conscious around agile working, that the position has changed within our buildings, and that guidance has already been sent out to managers. So what Emma is talking about that is going to be sent out from the health and safety team is strengthening what's already gone out. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you very much for that. You put your hand down now, Juan. Don't mind, thank you. Right, anybody else got a comment on that? If not, can we move on? Is there anything else in the minutes that you want to raise? Right, moving on then to the next item, which is a health and safety update. Verbal update.
Chair, sorry, Chair, there is a vote on item 3 for the minutes. It should have appeared on your screens now.
Sorry. Oh, it's just appeared now. Okay. Sorry, what's the vote for?
To accept the minutes.
The vote is yeah, to accept the minutes, Chair.
To accept the minutes, is it? Okay. Well, sorry about that glitch, but members, if you'd have a look at what's on your screen now, if you're for or against the minutes, please vote now.
That's carried, Chair. That's unanimous.
100%?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, members. Right. Okay. Are we ready to move on now? If so, update from Emma, please.
Thank you, Chair. I thought it would be beneficial to give Health and Safety Committee members just a quick update on our workload, priorities, to allow you all to understand the current challenges and issues that we're facing. So I'll start with workload. It is continuing to be incredibly high. We've got a combination at the minute of COVID challenges and core health and safety workload. So as you would expect, COVID safety continues to provide a considerable work stream, ensuring that everybody is aware of employer duties around COVID and aware of the differences in terms of employer responsibilities and what people can do in their general day-to-day lives. Also consideration of COVID safety and reviewing risk assessments. So that's a big piece of work in terms of ensuring that managers continually review their risk assessments and communicate the findings of those assessments to their staff. We are seeing increased requests for support and advice around provisions of services in a COVID-safe manner as people are starting to come back to some sort of normality then. So we are balancing all of this against the day-to-day health and safety workload. We are seeing more accident investigations. We are getting back on track with general inspections, fire safety work, inspections, follow-up of tasks, asbestos safety, so on and so forth. Ventilation and COVID is another current challenge. It's been a particular challenge over the past couple of months, particularly in our schools. We are carrying out carbon dioxide monitoring in some of our schools where there are requests from head teachers based on them experiencing high carbon dioxide monitor readings. You'll probably recall from last meeting that Welsh Government supplied all schools with carbon dioxide monitors to give an indication of problems with ventilation and air quality. So we've seen quite a lot of queries and requests around that. We've produced a guidance note for schools around balancing the conflicting need to maintain comfortable temperature with ensuring that there's adequate ventilation. There is no easy answers. Sometimes the solutions are long-term solutions, and we are seeking some advice in certain cases and in certain premises from our colleagues in Property Services Department, because some of our sites need more specialist advice, but it's very much a case of working together on this one. Fire safety visits. Just to make members aware that we are seeing increased numbers of requests from South Wales Fire and Rescue Service for proactive monitoring visits. Again, it's a challenge because they seem to prioritise schools, and this can take us away from our priority, which is sleeping risk and reviewing all sleeping accommodation. There have also been changes to Welsh Government guidance around the requirements for fire risk assessments in flats without communal areas requiring assessments, and that is very, very new and is subject to ongoing discussions. RAMIS, asbestos migration, is another key workload for the team at the minute. Because of changes from our software provider, we have been required to migrate over our system to a new database. As you can imagine, it's never straightforward. With the best planning, it has thrown up quite a few challenges, and work continues to take place to ensure that our new system meets our needs and is not just as good as the old system, but actually improves our ability to navigate, maintain information and update our asbestos information, which, as you can appreciate, is absolutely essential across all service areas if we're to continue to work safely. Contractor management. This is, for me, one of our key priorities and will continue to be throughout 2022. Work is planned and an auditing programme is planned to review our arrangements, our procedures across the authority in terms of engaging and managing contractors. It's really about ensuring that we are confident that all people engaging contractors are aware of their responsibilities, and we're expecting there to be a training need to come out of that. Finally, in terms of priority workload for the health and safety team at the minute, policy review is something that we've brought to committee previously. It's something that sadly hasn't taken priority during COVID because we've had more pressing urgent needs, but we are back on track in terms of reviewing health policies, currently looking at the violence at work, because COVID actually has made everybody a little less tolerant, and we need to ensure that our policies and procedures are robust, reviewed and updated. So we'll be looking at those. They'll be going via the usual routes for consultation, and the Health and Safety Committee can expect some updated policies to come back to this meeting, hopefully June onwards. Has anybody got any questions?
No, it seems as if everybody's quite happy with that, Emma. Wait a minute, Walter, go on.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Emma, there's one. You mentioned about schools and ventilation. Are we going to follow Scotland and cut the bottom off the doors?
Oh, I tell you what, I think our fire officers would absolutely have a meltdown.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure South Wales Fire and Rescue Service would be too pleased either. So I'm sure they thoroughly researched that solution, but I think we'll give that one a miss.
Thank you. Glad to hear it.
Okay, anyone else? Well, thank you, Emma. We move on to the next item, which is a safety SLA update.
Thank you, Chair. I'm actually going to ask Andrew Wigley to present this item, if that's okay.
That's fine. Andrew, where are you?
I'm here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Andy Wigley.
Andrew.
I'm the Principal Health and Safety Officer for the Council. The purpose of the report in agenda number 5 is to update committee members on the Health and Safety SLA service that's offered to our schools. All Caerphilly schools buy into an SLA service, which is a fully income funded service that provides specific health and safety support for our schools. In addition, 68 primary schools also buy into a premium SLA service, and all secondary schools also currently receive the premium SLA service. That service provides schools with a dedicated health and safety officer who visits the school on a monthly or fortnightly basis. The range of tasks undertaken by the health and safety officer is very broad. That includes those outlined in point 5.1.2 of the report. The pandemic has significantly impacted on the priorities and workload of the health and safety officers. However, they are now focusing on progressing our core priorities. The day-to-day workload is typically directed by the head teacher, although the officer can direct and support head teachers with prioritising risks and various resources. The role of the officer is to support the school senior management teams with managing health and safety risks, but it does not take away any responsibility from individual head teachers or the school senior management teams. The service is very much valued by the health and safety team for the schools and head teachers, and is appreciated for their professionalism, expertise and the responsiveness of the individual officers. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Anyone? We're all happy with that. Vital service, of course, to the schools, and we're all concerned with that. Colin, you got your hand up, Colin.
Yeah, it's not a question, Chair. It's just a comment on the abbreviation of SLA. Can we in future reports put what SLA mean is a service level agreement, so people watching or people in this meeting know exactly what we're talking about? Would that be okay, Chair?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think these acronyms can be a bit baffling if to some people, and we got thousands of them. But you're quite right. I mean, we shouldn't use them. We should say clearly what it is we're trying to express.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Apologies, that's my fault. I should have explained that at the beginning.
No, don't worry. You're not the only, Andrew, you're not the only one. The trouble is we're so used to using them. Aren't we? Anyway, any other questions? Well, this is for noting. So we move on. I assume you're quite happy with that. And the next one is Emma. Emma Townsend again. This is the Emma show. Statutory maintenance report. Where's she gone? Has she gone home?
Chair, actually, this one is not for me.
Well, so it says on my script, it says Emma.
This one is actually usually Mark Williams. Mark has given his apologies, so Alan Ford, maintenance manager, will be presenting this report, if that's okay, Chair.
Well, that's perfect. All right. Alan, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chair. Just to reconfirm, Alan Ford, maintenance manager for property services, working under Mark Williams. Just to give you a feel for where we are as an authority in terms of our statutory maintenance. In terms of where we are compared to 5 years ago, I feel we're in a really good place at the moment. We've got a clear understanding now of what's out there in all our assets, including public buildings and housing, and what is actually required within those assets in terms of our statutory compliance. Added to that, via Emma's team, we've undertaken some training for all building managers to clearly define what is their roles and responsibilities when it comes to statutory maintenance and what we expect of them and what they expect of us. The statutory maintenance group will meet every quarter, chaired by Mark Williams, where we'll report on compliance and figures. And following on from that group, a quarterly basis, those figures will be presented to CMT. Over the last 2 years, a huge amount of work has had to be done to bring us up to where we are today. The tasks outstanding, going back 2 years ago to where they are now, are almost unrecognisable. To give you a feel for that, 2 years ago, we were probably somewhere in the region of 700 fire risk assessment tasks within schools. And today we're now down to just over the 200 task mark, which again, we would like to get lower. But unfortunately, the volume, the challenge with COVID in terms of access at the moment is proving twice as long with a lot of our works. But I can say everyone is sort of trying to pull in the right direction and get Caerphilly as compliant and task-free as we can. If it's okay, Chair, I'd like to share my screen for the latest
carry on.
report. Sorry, just bear me 1 second.
Okay.
Why does it never work when you want it to work?
Oh, yeah.
Apologies, just firing up now.
All right, don't worry.
I don't think there's anybody on this committee other than the officers who could do what he's going to try and do now.
And I've just made a boo with that.
I've tried a few times, but unsuccessfully most of the time.
It's times like this when you make statements to make the officer feel even more uncomfortable.
Okay, is that? Can everyone see
Yeah.
that? Apologies.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this is our quarterly report that goes to CMT, and I just want to flick through some of the key points and tables that we produce on the quarterly basis. So I'm going to take you to table 1, which is our testing compliance for operational buildings and schools. As you will see, the picture is generally excellent. We did have a slight delay with kitchen equipment where we fell behind slightly due to some contractor issues with COVID absence. But I'm pleased to say those 15 sites have been brought up to date as well. So across the board, it's generally an excellent picture with the odd site, there where we were non-compliant and sort of had to catch up after the date. Taking you on to table 2, this is our overdue remedials as a result of that testing I just spoke about. And again, I don't think the table gives a good enough picture of the efforts of the authority with the amount of tasks across our portfolio of 400 buildings. But hopefully you can see the outstanding tasks are fairly low in general when in comparison to those quantities. Gas 57 tasks, gas 49, electrical only 1, fire risk assessment, as I alluded to earlier, we're down to 350 in total now, whereas 2 years ago we had 700 tasks alone in schools. Fire alarm remedials 57, and then the remaining 3 within single figures or 0. So again, we'd like to get them down further, even more, but the picture is a pleasing one, and I think we're going in the right direction. Moving on to our leased out buildings. This is our economic development portfolio, where there is some 250 units. And again, very good compliance figures here, single figures for electrical, gas, across the portfolio, which is a really good picture because it's often very difficult with these tenants, especially during COVID, to try and get hold of them, to contact them, let alone certification and compliance. So to be fair, a really good picture across the board. Table 4, sorry, it's split over 2 pages, is our leased out properties that are non-industrial units. And again, a good picture, slightly not to the levels of the industrial, but partly that was down to, we had a couple of officers who were both off due to sickness and unavailable to provide the updated data. So I'm pleased to say these figures have improved since the report in December, but at the time it was past the CMT, it was slightly lower than what we would have liked. Floodlighting on sports facilities has been a hot topic over the years. And I'm pleased to say floodlights on Caerphilly sites 100% compliant. We had 2 sites that are leased out that were overdue, but I'm pleased to say early January these were brought up to compliance and certification received. Sheltered housing, gold star for these guys, 100% right across all disciplines, which is a great achievement across our portfolio of sheltered housing complexes. Table 7 is remedials within sheltered housing, and again, generally an excellent picture. There's some fire risk assessment tasks following new assessments done by Emma's team that were outstanding, but I believe that figure of 90 is also down less than half at the moment. General housing, our domestic stock, as you'll see, the number of assets, 10,000, over 10,000 assets. So to be down in sort of around 18 and 77 for non-compliant for our housing portfolio is a great effort by the housing staff. And then our final table is our external lighting and power. So areas such as feeder pillars, CCTV, etc. And again, an excellent picture across the board with only 1 site that was non-compliant that was actually locked off at the time because of a material delay issue that we were waiting on. So hopefully I can report to the next CMT that's actually now compliant. Hopefully that gives you a feel for where we're at in terms of statutory compliance and remedials. As I said, I think it's an improved picture from where we were 2 years ago. Always more to improve and bring down further, and I'm sure as we come out of COVID and slowly relaxations come into force, we can speed up the process and get us to an ever wishing zero compliance. Any questions?
Thank you, Alan. Please indicate if you've got a question.
Yeah,
Lynn.
Yes, Chair, not a question, but just some support to what Alan's been saying. The figures Alan has just gone through, I appreciate members may have some concerns about the numbers, but if it helps, we are constantly reviewing and revisiting those figures. So every time we do a fire risk assessment, for example, it is likely a number of tasks will be added. We've got fire risk assessments in place, but they're always reviewed. So every time we review them and new tasks come on, they will replace tasks that have gone off. So it's not like we have tasks on there that are never being reviewed, not being addressed. It is a constant fluctuation of the tasks coming off and new ones coming on to what we're dealing with. So I just needed to reassure members of that. There are priorities in terms of tasks that are undertaken on all the statutory maintenance matters and timeframes to do them. But the important thing for members is when any risk assessments are undertaken for any of the statutory maintenance matters, there is an urgent issue, it is not left. That matter is addressed straight away and the risk is not left unaddressed. It's important that members are aware of that. So there's a couple of things there. Whilst Alan was talking about numbers, members need to be aware it's a constant turnover and we're not just leaving what's there and not addressing them. And members will appreciate, there are a lot of buildings involved, including our schools, and there's lots of coordinated work being done across the authority amongst services to address this and ensure that we're minimising risks across the authority. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Lynn. Mike?
Thank you, Chair. In effect, I was going to make a comment on how comprehensive the report was. But there is a moving picture, as Lynn has just told us all the time. We don't stand still and say, that was a good set of results. We know where we needed to do some of the work behind the figures that might slightly be less than 100% compliant. And you're busy all the time, Alan, I would imagine. Very few days where you go into work and think, there's nothing on my list.
Yeah, I wish I could say that. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So congratulations to you and all the staff for all the work that you're doing. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Mike. Who's first? Lynn?
Sorry, Chair, I need to take my hand down. Thank you.
Okay. Juan?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I just wanted to add, it was noted at our Unison health and safety meeting last week, and I pointed out and raised the fact, you know, the just have to compliment the corporate website, and there's a lot of information on there, a lot of forms and guidance for staff there. So I was just trying to raise that again, and thank the team for that excellent report as usual, and encourage people to staff to get onto that site, and if they got concerns. And on the back of that, I just wanted to ask Emma, the figures for the near misses coming in, is that being used? Because it's, you know, if we can flag up or keep encouraging staff to use that forms where they see things or where they see potential risks, you know, it's an excellent conduit to raise those issues. I just wondered if that was being taken up, Emma.
Okay, well, we are seeing a few more near misses. Not quite as many as we'd like to see, but we did realise it was going to be a slow process to get people to change their mindset to report near misses as well as actual accidents. And obviously COVID hasn't helped. The training team are working to develop a video as a training resource for that. So what I would say to you is, yes, figures are improving in terms of near miss reporting, but we'd like to see them improving more.
Okay. Phil?
Yeah, Alan, no, it's just in the past, we've always had a problem with asbestos and we've done really well at the moment. I'm just wondering, are you happy that everything is now covered? Because in a subsequent report, we're reading about some substantial fines to a school and to a contractor for failure on asbestos issues. And I'm just wondering how secure we are as an authority on asbestos, because it was a problem at one time, which was resolved, I think.
Yeah, to be fair, I think asbestos is probably one of our leaders at the moment in terms of how we manage our work and our processes. Probably partly down to Emma and the asbestos guys who were very hot on our toes, should we say. But I think now we got clear defined roles and responsibilities in terms of what we need to request and get permission for before proceeding with any works. Added to that, I think the training of our contractors and familiarising them with what we expect of them within Caerphilly, as thankfully, touch wood, ensured we've had very little asbestos issues, to my knowledge, over the past 12 to 18 months, Emma.
I would agree, Alan. We haven't had a huge number of issues. I would also say that I wouldn't want us to be complacent. Asbestos management is you know, asbestos isn't going to go away. It's a high risk topic. It's something that we are continuing constantly to review and to improve our processes. We've got a significant amount of work planned. I think I brought a report to last committee meeting around ongoing review of procedures. We're looking to roll out a duty to manage training course to all of our head teachers, and we're also looking to deliver device training to all of our premises managers. We are looking to do some more work around asbestos condition monitoring, and we're also looking to ensure that we are going in often enough to all other premises, and that we got a plan, or to build on our plan, I would say, to look at areas where asbestos might have deteriorated then and might need to be removed or encapsulated. So Alan is right, lots of good work. The team are absolutely fantastic. The authority has invested huge amounts of money in terms of processes and removal of asbestos containing materials over the years, but it is a moving picture like statutory maintenance. Things deteriorate, work impacts on asbestos, staff move on, and I don't think we can rest and say it's a job well done. It is something that we continue to endeavour to improve, and that's not going to change.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Emma. I've got a hand up which just says Wigley. Is that Andrew Wigley?
Yes, it is. Hi. Just to
hi.
thank you, Chair. Just to return back to the comments about near-miss reporting, it does remain low. However, the accident incident investigation policy was reviewed. That has new arrangements for the reporting of near misses, and the statistics are included in the committee report for accident statistics. So you'll find a column in there regarding near miss reports that have not led to personal injury or reportable ill health, but we do record near misses.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I'd just like to go back to the comments that Mike Adams made and echo them. I think it's a fantastic job to do. And I'll tell you what, in a previous life, I was responsible for maintenance of tankers. And we get a report that the tanker was in trouble and needed to be fixed. But the problem for me was that it could have been anywhere between Southampton and Glasgow. And the problem, the logistics of that, believe me, is a total nightmare. And I understand the problems that you have, Andrew, Alan. I sympathise and I thank you for doing such a good job, as Mike said. Anybody else want to say anything? Okay. Let's have a look then what we got. I keep losing my arrow.
Chair, can I ask,
where are we on the agenda, Steve? Can you help me? Vice Chairman.
Councillor Mike Adams?
Mike?
Can I just ask a question regarding the comments about near misses and reporting of? Yes or no?
Sorry, what was the question, Mike?
Well, we've been talking about near misses and reporting, and I was just going to ask Andrew and Emma regarding the reporting of. Do we perceive perhaps that many near misses that should be reported may go missing because the person who either witnessed it or carried out something that in their operation thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. That could have been a bit nasty for myself or a witness seeing it, that I better not say that because it'll reflect on me. I just wondered if we have any idea, both, that might be something that's holding us back on the number of reports, that everything that could be deemed a near miss really should be reported so that if it was investigated, appropriate changes can be made.
Andrew, do you want to speak?
Yep. It is impossible to know, is the short answer, unfortunately. At times we do struggle to get accidents reported, that actually cause personal injury. We do struggle to get some of those reported to us within a timely manner. So in terms of near misses, it is subjective of whether or not that is an incident that they feel should be reported, because if it were to recur, it could on that occasion cause serious injury or serious ill health. It's because we've not formally been recording them in the same way, it is difficult to know if there is an increase. It seems as though there's been a recent increase, but not in significant numbers. we do get various queries though from different departments as well. So yeah, it's difficult to know. It's all down to the education side of things, and that's something that we are looking to promote going forward, in terms of to try and encourage that, and you know, maybe it will open the floodgates. Hopefully not, but yeah, it's just impossible to actually know, because of course, unless it's reported to us,
Yeah.
we are not going to know ourselves unless we
Yeah.
come across it. Of course, if we come across it, we wouldn't record it as a near miss, but we might record it, for example, as a finding in a general inspection report.
Yeah.
So sometimes a near miss is reported but in a different way, so it doesn't necessarily come through as being recorded as a formal incident.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to tell.
Yeah, I understand all that. An own fault near miss might be the kind of thing you just tell your mates, don't do what I just did, instead of it going down on paper. Thanks, Andrew.
Okay then. Well, that report was for noting. Are we noting it? Without dissent, thank you. And the next item is risk management presentation by none other than Emma. Am I right this time, Emma?
No, Chair, it's not me again. I'm going to
No.
hand over to Tracy. Tracy Minette
Tracy.
with the Risk and Insurance Manager.
Tracy, how nice to see you.
Hi, good morning all. As Emma said, my name's Tracy. I am the insurance manager. This is the first time, I believe, since being in post that I've asked to join this meeting and present to you. I've taken a bit of advice from Emma and Andy as to what kind of things to include today. They advise that I focus on employers' liability, so claims where current or former employees have made claims for compensation against the authority. I'm just going to reel you off some figures for the last, say, 4 years. I do apologise if I pitch it wrong, but just to let you know that I can pretty much infiltrate my data system for anything. So in future meetings, if you want more detail or less detail or anything in particular, then I can pretty much pull off whatever you need, really. But I'm just going to talk about employers' liability claims then. So I'll run you through some figures here in terms of claim numbers and amounts paid out. And then I'll give you a bit of a summary on what my thoughts are, how we're going forward with those. So in the year 18-19, we received 7 claims from employees. 3 for cleansing, 2 for education, 1 fleet, 1 adult services. Out of those, 1 was settled, 3 were denied, and 3 are still open. It's very much a mixture of claims. So we've got some ice slipping, mud slipping, conditions of sight really, a ladder fall, a defective gate and an electric shock. So far for that year, the payments total £26,000. But that is for costs and damages and any other associated costs as well. It was only the 1 claim we settled, which is a ladder fall at Tyrabirth. In 1920 year, again, 7 claims. Grounds maintenance took a couple, but it was mainly education that year. 2 of those were settled, 1 denied and 4 ongoing. Again, very much a mixed bag of claims there. An electric shock from some equipment, collapsed manhole, slips, 2 where teachers have been injured by a pupil, and an employee was injured using a mower. In that year, we paid 13,500. And moving on to the year 2021, a reduction there, 3 claims in total was received from catering, cleansing, education. 1 tripped on a bag, tripped on site, and 1 was hit in the door as a result of a one-way system that was implemented because of COVID. At the moment, 1's been denied, 2 are ongoing, and no payments have been made. And for the current year 21-22, we've received 3 claims, all ongoing. These involve a needle stick injury, quite a nasty degloving incident with a bit of machinery, a a disc cutter injury as well. That's just really much a whiz through of 4 years worth of claims numbers and claims data. I think what we can take from a summary of that is that employers' liability claims have significantly reduced over the last 10 years. And I'd like to think that's a result of our robust and tight policies and procedures that we have in place. Education and cleansing seem to be where we see most of the claims, although I don't think that's a massive surprise, and it's pretty much the same picture for most local authorities. We do have a large excess on these claims, so the payments that we've paid out to date have all come from our local authority because it's below excess, so no insurer has picked this up. Coincidentally, Wales Online, I'm not sure if anybody's seen the article that was released recently, but it was all Welsh authorities were subject to a freedom of information request, whereby the requester asked for a lot of claims information. I've looked at the figures quickly this morning, but to be honest, they don't look bad. We are certainly... Our figures are certainly lower than the likes of Cardiff, Newport, Swansea, RCT. Our figures very much seem to be on par with the likes of Merthyr and Vale. Now, you'll appreciate they're much smaller authorities with a smaller workforce. Our figures are good, but there's always room for improvement. I'm speaking with Emma and Andy a lot in health and safety, and we've got plans to meet again in March, really to reiterate where our pitfalls are. What we see a lot of is perhaps inaccurate record keeping, missing training documents. What we'll do, we really want to stress the importance of departments to really link in with insurance and risk and health and safety. And we'll help them take advice from us. We'll help them wherever we can to make sure the processes they have in place for their staff are correct. We do monitor trends in claims, although with regards to employers' liability claims, they are very much a mixed bag. There's no real trend that we're seeing across the board, although they are monitored. Our insurers have a risk management program and a risk guidance program as part of our insurance package. And I don't think a lot of departments utilize that service. So again, with health and safety, we'll really be pushing that point to just get any risk management guidance they need, help them with anything. We're currently helping Fleet, but again, we'll just be pushing it against all departments. We've also got a risk management fund here, which we contribute to various programs. Over the last couple of years, that we've really contributed to the Capital Schools education program for our schools, so improving the sight of our schools and relevant training programs. So that's where we're looking at in terms of employers' liability claims at the minute. Like I said, I think our numbers are good, but there's always room for improvement. Motor is probably another problem we've got. It's so when I refer to motor, so I refer to all incidents involving our vehicles where our staff have been driving the vehicles. Now, the figures for the last few years are very much different, and we do seem to be settling a lot more claims, very much because of own fault driving, so where our drivers are at fault. So I think we really need to look at driver error here, any trends, picking up any trends, why it's happening, refresher driver training. But we are doing a risk management program and some risk guidance with Fleet at the moment. But there is a small excess on our motor policy. So insurers have probably picked up a majority of this. Sorry, over the last 4 years, we've paid out £593,000 in motor claims. But again, the majority is picked up with insurer here. But like any insurance, you get high levels of claims and insurers hike up premiums and it just gets returned to us, doesn't it? So I suppose the problems we see from a claims perspective in terms of motor is not, like Andy have said with his section, is not being notified of incidents, us not getting in quick enough. Sorry for the very much whistle stop, just running you through. Like I said, if there's anything different you want to hear about in the future in terms of property, various different claims, by all means let me know. But is there any questions from anyone here in terms of insurance and risk?
Phil, you had your hand up.
No,
Phil?
she covered it in her report, thanks.
Right, thanks very much. Anyone else? What, oh, yeah, Juan?
Yeah, thanks for that, Tracy. And it's nice to note that we, compared to other authorities, and and the quite low amount of claims there. And I just wanted to point out, and I'm sure that Neil Fennell would back me up on this. We know that staff engagement is vital in keeping workplaces safety, and we know that from our data that unionized workplaces are safer places to work in. And particularly because, just as we are on this corporate meeting, we have our own engagement with staff, we would encourage schools to have their own health and safety committees, etc. Because there's that engagement, we deal with problems before any problems arise. So it's, I think that that's reflective on the organisation and where we are. And just to note that from a union, I sort of demystify some things on claims here. Unionized workplaces are safer because we do engage and we do address things at source. So when claims do go forward, and we are not there rushing people if they have accidents at work, they're thoroughly investigated, and those that do make their way to the solicitors on behalf, I can assure you, will have been very thoroughly evaluated before any such claims go forward. So there are no knee-jerk reactions from the unions, but this engagement and members and staff and officers come into this meeting and taking note of what's discussed here is very important. So thank you for that report. Cheers.
All right, thank you, Juan. Before I call you in, Lynn, is Neil still in the meeting? I wonder if you had a comment on it, Neil. Neil Furness?
Yes, Chair. Yeah, Neil Fennell, GMB Branch Secretary. Yeah, no, I support what Juan has said 100%. From a union point of view, we do encourage our members to be, active in all aspects of health and safety to make sure their workplace is safe, to avoid all accidents where possible. The only thing I will find, obviously, one of the comments I think that Tracy made there was about, within the cleansing department, these are physical, jobs where men are exposed to a lot of aspects of, they don't know what's going to happen through the day, they don't know what they're going to come across, they keep as safe as they can, but there's always an element of a possible accident occurring because of the machinery and other, aspects of their role, picking up waste, etc. But we do all we can do from a trade union point of view to make sure that they stay safe, that accident reporting is done on a regular basis and done properly. So we are, fully in support of what Tracy's doing there. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. We just always ask that any issues you engage with us or health and safety, and we can assist in any way we can. Like you say, you will always get. No local authority is going to be accident free. We just have to do what we can really to make the workplaces safe as possible. And especially with, like you say, the refuse and the nature of the work, and that's motor claims as well. It's just because of just the size of these vehicles on the roads all day long, the nature of the streets, the small terrace streets where you get vehicles parking both ways. In terms of motor claims and hitting third-party vehicles, you will see them.
Yeah, can I just come? Sorry, Chair. Can I just come back there? I mean, at the moment, the refuse and cleansing department are going through a review and have been for a number of years. Perhaps exactly what Tracy said there. That's a good point, and we have raised this before about the nature of the, the actual environments that these vehicles got to operate in and the size of the vehicles. And maybe there should be an opportunity here to actually buy vehicles or lease vehicles, which are going to be more appropriate for the job within these smaller terrace streets, etc.
Yeah. Well, your point taken, Neil. I think, you know, that the cleansing, the collection of refuse is probably an area where we are at most risk with our contact with the public. Anyway, thank you for those comments. Lynn, sorry to keep you.
No, that's fine, Chair. Thank you very much. I think Tracy's given the committee really useful information this morning, so it might be helpful, Chair, if we sit down with you, Councillor Kent as the Vice Chair, and also Councillor Gordon as the Cabinet Member for this area, to look at Tracy attending in the future and what members and the rest of the committee would like Tracy to cover. So if that's okay with you, Chair, maybe we could have those discussions.
Well, yes, I think, you know, what Tracy has said this morning is quite important. Well, I don't want to overstress it, but it is very, very important, isn't it? And I think that one thing I was going to ask Tracy was, how much is our insurance premium, roughly? Do you know?
It's a difficult one to pitch because our insurance premium is broken down. So we have a premium for our employees, we have a premium for our property. We have a premium for third party. So we have lots of individual premiums.
And what does that cost altogether?
Roughly, it would tip over the 1 million mark.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
like I said, on some premiums, we have a low excess, so our motor claims, so then insurers are picking up the majority, whereas on some premiums, we have a higher excess, and therefore, it's funded internally a majority, unless you get, you know, one of those big massive claims that we hope we never get.
Yeah. Okay. Lynn, do you want to go back on what your suggestion of meeting?
Councillor Harwood, maybe if yourself, Councillor Kent, Councillor Gordon, myself and Emma can have the discussion about Tracy's future attendance and what you would like her to cover. I think that would be helpful for the committee going forward. And I can see Councillor Gordon's got his hand up, so I'm sure he'll have a view on this as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got Juan's hand as well. Do you want to come in now, Juan?
Yes, thanks, Chair. Question for Tracy. I know that we constantly, you know, as we've got a lot of staff using their own vehicles and staff new to using their own vehicles within the authority and staff very unsure of the liability aspects to themselves with their insurers. Is there any guidance that could be offered for staff?
Yeah, I did distribute. Sorry to cut you off here. Sorry, yeah, I did distribute some guidance when a request came out for employees to help with the free school meals delivery, and that involves them using their own vehicles. I can dig that out and send it to you, but in short, anyone using their own vehicle for work related, they need to just check with their own insurer too. But leave me dig that out, the guidance that was sent out as a result of the free school meals, and can I send that over to you?
Yeah, that'd be very welcome. Thanks, Tracy.
No problem.
Okay,
and like Lynn has said as well, anything I can pull off, pretty much anything in terms of claims, or whether you want anything specific for a service area. Some departments, say like highways, ask me for their claims information once a month. Some departments don't ask me, so I can pretty much pull off anything and give you a picture of any scenario, really. So by all means, just let me know.
Okay. Well, I got a queue now. Colin.
Yeah, if I could come in, Chair, only quickly. Nice to meet you, Tracy. Obviously, the last 2 years, we've been in the midst of a pandemic. Have that had any impact on the reduction in claims? And has there actually been a claim from anybody having an accident working from home, perhaps in their own house? Just stressed.
A reduction in claims slightly, especially in terms of motor, because I think there was less people on the roads very early into the pandemic, wasn't there? But not not as much of a reduction as I would have liked. There was a slight dip, but nothing significant. And no, in terms of claims for anybody working at home.
Lynn, thank you, Tracy, for that. Lynn?
Thank you, Chair. Just to pick up on the point that Juan has just raised, the discussions that are ongoing with the trade unions and HR, so I think it might be helpful if we involve Tracy in those discussions, rather than queries perhaps going to Tracy as ad hoc and one-off, so that we've got a bigger picture and we can include them in any policies going forward, Chair.
Sounds sensible to me. Any comment?
No, just to say, I think that's sorry to come in there, Chair. If you'll excuse me, I just want to say, yeah, I think that's an excellent idea, and just on the back of what Councillor Gordon raised there about claims from home, you know, it might be something that that we need to sit down as part of those discussions as well, because a lot of people have been working from home, and it might be something in the future that we, that might be coming in that are not quite apparent now.
I think that everyone who's got staff working from home has thought about the possibility of that. I think our IT and HR departments have really kind of pushed forward and done what they can in terms of assisting people who are working from home and giving them guidance on how to work and in ensuring they have the correct equipment. But again, I would imagine it's still an ongoing thing, isn't it? It's constantly moving. And even with people moving back to workplace, I don't imagine a scenario where we're ever back where we once were.
Okay, going back, Lynn, to your suggestion of a meeting, Steve and Colin, me, and whoever else. How do you feel about it, Stephen and Colin? Are you happy with that? Stephen?
Yeah, it's fine by me.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm happy, Chair.
Yeah, me too, Lynn. So if you want to arrange something.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Is any other questions now to Tracy? If not, thank you very much, Tracy. It's nice to see you. I think it's the first time you've been to our meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Don't leave it too long.
I won't.
Okay, thank you all. Right, moving on. The next items are two information items, which we've had no questions. Recent health and safety executive updates, accident statistics for October to December. We've had no questions on that, so they are therefore noted. And that brings us to the conclusion. So I would like to thank everyone for attending this morning's corporate health safety. I declare the meeting closed, and you may now hang up. Committee services, can you please stop the recording?